Hi guys, and welcome to another one of our camping gear videos. Obviously with the COVID-19 nonsense going on at the moment, there's no chance that we're going to get out for quite some months, so I'm going to share with you some more of the new gear that we've been stacking away in the 4x4, getting it ready for the far off day when we will be able to go out again. So this is it, and we'll just do a little bit of a magic trick here. Voila! And that is what we've been stacking the back of the four-wheel drive with. Quite surprising that it unfolds to such a large size. Now I'll take you through what we've got here and what we think of it so far. Okay, the first one to look at here is an Austrail cupboard. Quite a number of shelves in this one. 5 shelves. Unfortunately, one of the hard shelves is missing, but this is another thing we picked up from an op shop, so not brand new. It's still in good nick. It was around about the $15 mark, I think, from memory. It's bigger than the other cupboard we have that we actually bought new. The advantage, I guess, with the other cupboard is that on top it has a clip-on table, whereas this one doesn't. This is just a cupboard. Nothing really to report about it in terms of functionality. It's a cupboard. It folds down flat. There are a couple of pockets on it, one on each side, a couple of bits of Velcro so that you can just keep more bulky items in there from falling out, I guess. 2 zips on each of the door sections. And it's very lightweight. The screen on it isn't micro mesh. Why they've chosen to go that way I don't know, but I guess for keeping ants and flies out it would be good enough. It's very easy to fold up. There are sleeves on each of the corners and you slide in a 3-piece rod. Once that's in, you just attach it to the plastic corner pieces and it's self-supporting after that. I would imagine you want to be a little bit careful when you're putting it together and putting any weight on either just 1 or 2 of the legs. Get 2 people to do the job, or lie it down perhaps when you're doing it. One item we wanted to get was some lightweight cooking gear. We came across this set on eBay. It wasn't cheap, I think it was about $30 odd. It comes with 1 set of folding cutlery. Bit of a shame it doesn't come with 2, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to carry our own cutlery anyway. This is really designed for hikers. It's just got a little slider on there, comes back and they fold in 2 and they go into a little pouch. There's a small fry pan, good enough for a single burner. We're only usually going to be cooking for 2 people, so lightweight, aluminium coated. A little pot with a handle. There's these little fold out handles on them. How long the plastic will last on those, I certainly wouldn't want to get that anywhere near flame, but again, very lightweight. Certainly enough for doing a small meal for a couple of people. And the little kettle, which initially we thought was going to be a bit too small, but in fact will be enough for 3 mugs of coffee, so that's not too bad. Nice, neat, lightweight little package. Another item for cooking is this little grilling unit. I'm sure there's a name for them, but I have absolutely no idea what it is. Now this one came from an op shop, was $4. You couldn't really beat that, so we didn't hesitate to grab that. Obviously you could put fish, meat, sausages, whatever you like in there. I put sausages in a different category to meat because most of them are sawdust. Now cooking item number 3 is this little stove. These are very common. This one has a removable top. You store it upside down in the bottom for some strange reason. I suppose it's to make the box a bit smaller. But yeah, these just take the little butane cylinders, which you can pick up for a few dollars for 5. We haven't done a lot of cooking on these before. We've used it once or twice maybe. We've got better gas stoves than this that we usually use, but for something that's lightweight, that's going to be suitable for 2 or 3 days out, it's going to be hard really to beat that for size and weight. It comes in a little plastic box, packs away neatly, and very lightweight. We're trying to keep weight down as much as we can, but with some items, especially with the cast ironware, that's a little bit difficult. Now, after watching Harry's Fire to Fork channel and seeing him say that cheap cast ironware is sometimes the best, we were more than happy to buy the cheapest pot we could find, the old camp oven. This one was $20 in Aldi. It is good and heavy, so solid, certainly going to be good for getting a heat build up inside. Not really much to look at on these things. Good solid lid. Very little to say about it at this stage. We haven't cooked in it yet. Looking forward to the time when we can get out to a campfire and get these things working. Good deep little rim on there to put the coals in the top. Otherwise, looks pretty much like any standard camp oven. Certainly enough for 2 people. The next item is a little Jaffle maker. This is a double one. Heavy cast iron. That again is an Aldi product. Was $20, which I guess isn't too bad for something that size and weight. It's not one of the ones that cut your sandwiches in half. It's one that does a full sandwich in each side, so you can put more filling in them, which I think is a pretty good idea. And the final item for cooking is a little barbecue set here, which will come in pretty handy when we're using the Life Do fire pit. Brand new, but also from an op shop. It's never been used. You can still see the plastic on there. That I think was $12. It may have been 15 tops, but again, excellent buy from an op shop. All comes in a closable case, nice little metal case. And yet another good buy from an op shop. A cooking related item, I guess, is the little tableware set. Nice little melamine set. This was from eBay. It wasn't a cheapish one, it was about $40, but it has a nice feel to it. It's fairly thick. Hopefully it won't break too easily. Reasonable sort of design. And our old tableware was pretty awful. Decent sized cups. Now we are yet to see if these fit into the cup holders on our chairs. We'll find out that in just a minute. We've needed some new chairs for a while. We did buy a pair, but they were too heavy and they really weren't all that comfortable. And we've had these little Coleman director chairs before. The last one we had lasted years and years, and we really didn't look after it all that well. It was left outside and it took a very, very long time for the material to finally give way. We've still got the frame and we probably could get something made up for it, but it's the material that always lets these things down. But these are comfortable. They're very lightweight. That's just over 3 kilos for a chair, but they are very strong. The weight rating for those is 135 kilos, so certainly okay for me. Not very fancy, they don't have too many gizmos on them, just a little folding side table. And now let's find out if the cups we've got will fit into those, because we have had chairs before where they make the cup holders too small for almost every cup. Now initially I thought that wasn't going to fit. I put it on there and it sat at a funny angle. But then I wondered, will it actually go into that slot if you push down? Yes, it will. Now, I guess the effect that that has is that it locks the cup in place and it's hard to knock over. So if you accidentally hit your cup or move the chair around, the cup isn't going to immediately fall over. So I was originally thinking the designers weren't very clever, but perhaps they're a bit more clever than I gave them credit for. You will have to watch it getting the cup out when you've still got liquid in it though. But I guess if you're careful enough and it's down a little bit, then you won't have too much trouble. We were also wondering what to do as far as a shower was concerned, and when I was in an op shop we spotted this. It looks almost brand new. I note there is a little piece off the filter missing, but I've had these before and I may actually have some spares of those. So I'll have a look through all my junk in the shed and see if I can come up with a little filter. There's just a little screw-on piece here for the pump so that it doesn't suck too much junk into the body of it as you are pumping water through. Now, we haven't had a battery powered one before. This one takes 4 D-cells, and to cope with that we've actually got some rechargeable D-cells now. All seems to work well. We've tested it out. Exactly the same as other pumps we've had in the past, except they have had a 12 volt connector on here instead of a battery compartment. Little clip on the back there so you can just slot it onto something. Standard pump and a shower head with an on-off slider switch there. We know these clog up a bit over time, and you can just unscrew that, take the innards out and clean it up. The pumps on these are a bit dodgy, I've got to say, but we picked this up for $4, so really not any problems with wasting money. I'm sure it'll last long enough to justify that price. So we'll see how this goes. As I say, we've tested it, it all works, and that'll be just a nice little addition to make showering with the 4x4 a bit of a luxury, I guess, instead of just having a bucket and a scoop. Now, when we're out camping we carry a lot of different batteries, and what we wanted was a simple container that allows us to store them in one place. Came up with this thing. It was a little bit expensive, I think, for what it is. Just a plastic moulded container. I wish it had room for 2 more D-cells because we need to carry 8, but also for C-cells, AA's, AAA's, 9 volts, and also for the little flat batteries. Well, one useful thing it does come with is a little battery tester. So if you want to have a look at your batteries and see what kind of charge they've got in them, you can just pop them in there and it'll tell you instantly what level your battery's at. So that's a handy little addition to it. It's only a cheap little thing, but very useful to know exactly which batteries are live and which ones are dead and need to be got rid of. An item that is actually a repeat of one we already have is this hose reel. We've had one for years with the coaster, but I'm not the sort of person who likes pulling gear out of one vehicle and putting it in another every time you want to go away. So we've now got a dedicated one for the 4-wheel drive. They're nice robust reels. There's a heavy hose, drinking water quality. They come with the click-on ends, and they are, I believe, 9 meters, so quite long enough for you to get to a tap and get your car close enough, if you don't have mobile tanks, which we won't have, to fill your tanks up. A water related item. This is a water filter. Didn't come with the hose, this actually came with the water tanks that we bought. And what we'll do, we'll just add a piece of hose on this end, so that will slide into the tank, and we'll add a hose with a clip on this end to attach it to the hose. Very simple, as long as you get the flow direction correct. And that, I guess, will just give us a little bit of safety with water. We do have another water filter, but that's with the camper trailer, and we'll be leaving that there for now. One of the items we showed you in an earlier video was the water tanks we're getting for the four-wheel drive. We think we're probably going to put these on the roof. I really don't like putting the weight up there, but there's not really going to be any room inside for them, so despite the fact that it's best to keep your weight down low if you can, we're very likely to see those going on the roof. Two 43 litre drums there. We've now got the piping we needed to put it together, and got a couple of taps on there so that we can release the water. We're going to keep the taps separate, so at least when one tank runs out we know the other one's full of water. We don't have to guess at how much water we've got left. The last item we want to have a look at today is the thing that everything else has been using for support, and that is the table here. It's probably the most expensive table we've bought to date. Most of our tables have not been that great, and 90% of them, probably more than 90% of them, have wound up in the bin. Hopefully this one will be better. Around about the $134–$135 mark. It's made by Tent, and they've got a fairly good reputation. We wanted something that was reasonably big but folded up into a small package, and was also lightweight, and this pretty much fits those criteria for us. We also wanted something with a metal top, because if we're going to cook on there, we want something that's going to absorb the heat and not do it any damage. Now, it's got an aluminium top and it's got a steel frame. Now, the one thing I guess I don't like about it is the way they've put the clips on to hold those legs in. There's not enough clips. There should have been one at the top and one at the bottom, or there should have been something at the bottom to hold the ends of the table legs. They're obviously going to fall out and rattle around inside it if you're on corrugation, so what I might do at some stage is just put a piece of foam, or see if I can come up with some better way of keeping those legs in place. You can already see the end one there is loose, so that's not the best idea. They could have come up with something a little bit better than that, I think, but otherwise I think the table is very simple to use. It's strong, you can see the reinforcement underneath it. It's a reasonable height. I would like it a little bit higher than that maybe, but overall pretty reasonable, I guess. Something that I'm not really going to show you in detail now is the Intex airbed. Now, we got that from Aldi recently for, I think it was around about $60. It has a 240 volt pump in it, which is dedicated to the airbed, so what happens if that ever gives up, I don't know. Whether you can actually pump it up with a different pump, probably unlikely, but it does have a 2-year warranty with it. That's something. We're going to test this out because the most comfortable bed I've found to date is an airbed. We had a Coleman, but unfortunately the Coleman leaked. We got our money back for that, but very disappointing because it was very, very comfortable to sleep on. So we're going to give the Intex a go. That means we're going to have an inverter with us. We've already got that, so that's not a problem. And maybe on the first couple of trips we will take some roll-up mattresses just in case, but with a bit of luck this will provide us quite a few days of camping, of course, when we finally get to go camping again. So we'll really give you a better look at that one when we've got it in use and we're out camping. And that's it for this episode. Hope you found something here that was interesting, some gear that you might think about getting yourself. Obviously the things we like best are the things we get from the op shops, because they don't cost us an arm and a leg, but plenty of gear here we're going to be using, and you're going to be seeing it again in the videos once we're out camping. Well, thanks for dropping by to have a look, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.